In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Hello, YouTube and Lone Star Drift audience. This is... I don't know if you want to talk about this, but the future of race car stuff, you're tuning ECUs, and I'm hearing so much stuff about, like, you know, the banning of aftermarket ECU tuning. Hondata got taken, you know, not down, but like everyone's going after them. What is the future for you guys going to be? Because you are in the forefront of it, and you know what's going on. We don't know what's going on so much. You want to talk about that or no? You don't have to.
I'll talk to you about it for a second, then we'll decide what you use maybe, if that's cool. Sure. I don't know, like personally, I don't know what the outcome will be for me. The EPA has never called me, contacted me. I try to list, if you're buying stuff for catless parts, like if your car's catless, I can still tune your car. But if you're expecting to go to the DMV or whatever and pass inspection, that's your problem because it's not gonna work, simply. Is there ways around that? I mean, people have been tuning for years, so people can do whatever they want to do. But at the end of the day, is it worth it? Legality-wise, no. Like, I personally have a bunch of cars, have had a bunch of cars, sold some cars, and to be honest, part of that is I don't know what I'm going to do next in my life because I don't know how this is going to go. Like, I literally had a McLaren 570S. I sold it 3 weeks ago. Did I have to sell it? No. Do I want different cars? Yes. Am I buying them right now? No. I'm sort of just like saving up money to see what the next thing might be. Like, what happens? Who knows? EPA might knock on my door and say, hey, you owe me $100, $150, $200,000. And then you choose what you do at that point. You know, you either pay them or you pay them, you know? So it sounds horrible. It's more money than anyone would ever want to spend. Not like flexing. Like I said, you use this, if we use this, if not, whatever. I don't know the future of ECU tuning. I really, really don't know. And not just ECU tuning, but the legality of it, and catless stuff. Catless now, people are doing the GESI or whatever brand, high flow like cats. But I guess if you put a cat large enough, right, it has enough flow to not restrict power, in theory. It's like if you blow through, that should make sense, right? You get me?
No, I totally get it.
So people are doing things like that that are maybe different cell count, right? But you have way larger cats. So things like that I think are gonna become more of the future of like high performance. You'll still have a cat, but it'll be a high flow cat.
I heard that it was illegal just to even modify a tune on an ECU.
So legality.
You're like, probably, I don't know.
Yeah. I should probably contact a lawyer.
I do this in the future, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, legality-wise, touching anything that's EPA related is illegal. So an ECU has some level of emissions compliant or emissions devices inside of it, or it is labeled as an emissions device. So doing anything to it is illegal. For sure. And it's crazy to think because like 10, 12 years ago, however long ago I started doing this, you're just doing something and then it ends up growing to a business, you make a lot of money, and then it's sort of like, wow, this has been illegal for a while, I guess. And it's all coming to light now. And it's just like, how do you handle it? I'm not 100% sure. That's why I'm legitimately saving money towards, that's also why I don't have a crazy turbo E36 right now. Because I don't know if it's worth spending $15,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 to do that when I don't know what's next in my life. Does that make sense?
No, that's absolutely crazy, and that's kind of...
Is that what he's doing too, or similar? Okay.
I don't even know. I think that he's probably banking on the fact that they're all race car ECUs, and that he can sell them, and that they don't try and, you know, do anything inside of a normal car and it's washing his hands. I'm not really sure. I wanted to do a video with him and then we just haven't done it yet. I was going to do it here.
Was he going to be okay with that? You asked him, talked to him about it, or not really?
Yeah, I know. He is super open about all that. He'll totally talk to me about it on video. He's great. I would assume that he's just like, it's all race car stuff, but I think that that's not the government's view.
That's a problem. Right now, it means
they're
nothing.
like, there's no such thing as race cars.
That doesn't matter. They say if it comes with a VIN number, unless you completely remove it or whatever, that is a car designed for public use on a public road. So that's sort of the problem with the whole race car thing. Like,
so you can remove a VIN number and get away with it?
So, I don't know if that's actually true, but there was something I read that if it came with a VIN, unless the car is being converted or something, there's no way. That could be completely wrong. I saw that somewhere. But pretty much if it comes with a VIN, it's never to be a race car with a VIN.
Right, that's like what I understood too. It can never be converted for it.
But like, who's going out and buying a shell and building a car?
Well, you can't build a shell. You'd have to build like a NASCAR tube chassis or something. That's the only way you would be able to do it.
No, you can buy cars from like BMW, like an F80.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So you can buy this car, buy a
That's
non-VIN
really rare,
F80.
though.
And then we do, how much do you maybe $10,000 or $15,000 for the shell?
I think it's
like
more than that, isn't it?
Walt was saying he's bought an E92 M3 GTS or something for a customer.
Do you get all the bolts and all the fenders?
No, I think it is like a bare chassis.
Yeah, that would cost a fortune to put together with nothing in it.
Like, you have to buy one of these maybe totaled or smacked, and then transfer some things, like everything over. But to be honest, dude, that's so much work. They're trying to kill it, you know? They're trying to kill it. I mean, there's a lot of other things that, I mean, the government can do whatever they want to do. They're the government. But there's definitely other things in the world that can be worse for pollution and the environment. And in my opinion, I'm not saying this is good for it. Catless cars, wherever they may be, are not good. Poor running cars are not good. So I'm not saying they're doing something bad for the environment. I think there's so much going on. It's just choosing one little thing.
For me, this is kind of nuts because you don't know the answer.
No, I don't.
You're flying blind, and that's kind of terrifying because every single person I talk to about this is flying blind. And the Japanese kind of did some crazy things where all the D1 cars, I remember like 12 years ago or something, had to run catalytic converters. They were running catalytic converters in the race cars the whole time.
Were they having problems? Not really.
I honestly don't know if like how long they did that or if they're still doing it because the Japanese stuff, it's hard to read about that. But I remember a long time ago in option magazines and stuff that they were, you know, putting cats in there and they were testing them on the race cars and showing that they only made like a 6 horsepower difference at 500 or 600 horsepower and it wasn't a big deal.
I believe it.
And I think that they were mostly trying to save their industry from being legislated out by positively promoting that they were trying not to do it. Kind of like I remember Reese Millen in Formula D was trying to say that ethanol was great for the environment and drifting was not a big deal, as he did burnouts.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. You have to pick and choose your battles, and I don't think with the government or EPA, for example, that there's that much winning.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, as shitty as that sounds, but I like doing this, so it's hard to just say, let me sell everything and go do something else in my life. I could probably have enough money to try doing something else, but is that really the goal? Not necessarily. I'm not like I'm trying to fly super under the radar and do things like, I'm here. It is, you go on my website, you order a tune.
So someone can go on your website right now and order a tune for a car with a catalytic converter, but not one without.
You can order without, I don't care, but your check engine light's gonna be on, that's on you. That's sort of how the frequently asked questions.
You just can't modify the check engine light and stuff.
In theory, yes, but it's not just that, it's more the emission stuff.
How about for me? Can you do it on the side for me?
If the camera stops rolling.
I'm joking.
No, so that's sort of the problem, you know? Email inquiries, phone calls, in person. It's just that I don't care who you are, it's not worth my livelihood. I have people call the time. I don't know. It's not that. It's like to do that and then you get caught. Is it worth $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $10,000?
Oh no, not at all.
FSI's. What is that company that works with Cletus called? The ones that do the. There's some company that got hit from some Hondatas. They got fined like $18,000 and they were on YouTube extremely upset about it.
Oh, I think I saw that.
$18,000 is a lot of money, but
and it was like 180,000.
It was 180. They knocked down to 80. Sign me up and I'll pay the $18,000 if that's all you get to walk away with.
And then you're just done.
But no, you're not done. They're still selling it on their website.
What?
Supposedly after that happened, when the video went up, you still click on Hondata on their website. So like, that's not a solution. You gotta like do better. So that's.
So is Hondata still a thing?
I don't know.
I thought they were going after him.
I don't know. I'm not sure. But
this is so weird that like I'm inside the industry, you're inside the industry, and we have no idea what's going on in the future of it.
Yeah, there's like a lawyer I got the info from, a friend of mine who does tuning, and he said contact them. They can potentially help you. But like, unless I'm gonna stop completely doing everything today, and then the EPA comes and hits you, and you're like, look, I've stopped this, that. I heard they'll still get you for the past year or 2 years, whatever the range is they can get you for.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, how much better is that gonna be?
Yeah.
They want to stop this, but it's also, in my opinion, probably a money thing. Like, they know they can collect 20, 30, 40, 50 grand.
They're like, keep going so we can get you again.
Yeah, so I don't know. Not a great answer.
Yeah.
So, not a wonderful
Well, I'm
answer.
sorry you have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I deal with lots of problems with drift events, you know, insurance, stress, hosting them.
Even me. I have insurance, and it's like you get insured for people on a racetrack driving. Like, if I tune your car and you kill, like, whatever, but if you get to a car and you have an accident or something bad happens, on public road to get insurance for that, it's like extremely difficult. So it's not like I'm like a under the radar business.
Oh wait, you need insurance for that?
You're don't.
Liable?
Most people probably don't. But if someone tries suing you, saying your tune created the throttle to stick open, like, it was extremely, extremely difficult for me to get proper insurance for a business because I do ECU tuning. I guarantee if you ask most people who do tuning, they don't hold the proper insurance. It is absurd amounts of money per year, like insane. I'll tell you off camera if you want to know, but it's horrible.
Sure.
It's wild. So I would never thought that would be a thing, but I try to have my business as legitimate as possible. You know, exception of tuning. It's like all I do. So I don't really have an answer as to the future is.
That's interesting. You're criminally liable, but not.
I don't know how liable I am.
Enough,
I'm
but
just
you're
trying
government or whatever. What do you call it? Government liable? Criminally or
I don't know.
Whatever.
I just try to be ahead of it, you know. That's why I have proper insurance and everything. I try to do things sort of by the books to not have issues with people in the future.
So is there any type of answer to this that you're working on? Are you going out and are you working with SEMA? Are you working with anything? Are you doing anything whatsoever to get into a group to try and, you know, get something passed legislative?
No.
No?
I know it's a horrible answer, but the problem is, like, I don't know how good that will help.
I don't think it would do anything.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it's just, you have to just pick and choose your battles, pick how you handle your business, be more picky and just be more clear so people understand. Like, so you don't buy it and people say, well, you said you tune it for any mods. My mod's catless. And now you're tuning it with my lights on and my car won't pass inspection. So about like maybe being more clear on that. Like, you can still get tuned from companies, but once again, how legal is that still? I don't know.
Is it legal to put a boost controller in a car?
Yes and no. In Berger Motorsports sells something called a JB4, and they have done testing, and some of them are legally be sold in California under the bar. They've got them like tested, and it has no effect on emissions, even though it has power. They got emission testing done and paid big money for it, and that's because they got hit by the EPA or the bar first, paid a large amount of money, and then they were like, well, we gotta stop selling in California, sell to everyone else, and then they only, I mean, somehow they're legally allowed to sell because they've been hit by both the bar and the EPA, to my understanding. They got fined by one and not by the other. They don't clear check engine light, but they add power. So what it is, that's a boost controller, that's all it is, boost controller. And they're allowed to do that. So for what I'm doing, I'm not sure how different that is, with the exception of I'm reflashing the computer versus adding something on top, which in my opinion is effectively
The same thing, yeah. They're just doing a fooling system, aren't they?
Yeah, which is freaking horrible for everything, in my opinion.
Because the
sucks.
ECU doesn't know what's going on.
No, and
it's
then like
not adding more fuel, it's not doing anything. All it's doing is removing the boost cut and just like letting it figure itself out.
It just sort of tells it like boost is good, and then intercepts the boost signal, and then adds more wastegate duty cycle. And it knows
add more fuel, or it just
relies on the O2 sensors for correction. So that's fine for like 2 pounds, 3 pounds. These cars are so smart. I put like a gallon or two at 85 in the other day. No lights, no coat, it's so good. So it's okay to do it for like 2-3 pounds of boost, you won't have a huge problem. But going into like, people run at like an E30 blend and like 5-6 pounds of boost, and they're relying on the O2 sensors, and it's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
How about like the MHD stuff? Would a person be criminally liable if they tune their own car with like an Android app?
I don't have an answer for that.
Or would the people that provided the app be liable for that? Imagine if you provided an app and like 1 million people download it and the government's just like,
Well, they're based out of Europe and BootMod's based out of Canada. So I don't know legality-wise if they can really be in trouble for that.
Interesting. Yeah. So why don't you sell from out of country and I put a post office box in Russia?
So I thought about a lot of things, and I don't know how easy, realistic, and how easy it would come back to me, you know?
Yeah.
Even Canada, like,
have you thought about just leaving the country and doing it?
No.
Do you make enough that you could do that?
Yeah, online only, I could live, but for how many years, I'm not sure. If I were to buy the same cars, do the same development there, and focus more online, I could probably make even more money, to be honest. But I mean, my family is here, I like it here. I'm not sure if that's the best solution for me.
Okay. Do you sell parts as well? Like physical parts?
Intakes and stuff like that, yes.
Okay. Are those legal? We don't know anymore?
From my understanding, from various people, but not the government, yes. Like, can I call the EPA? And be like,
hey, would you guys check me out?
Yeah, like what's allowed? Like, is that allowed? Like, is that a great idea? No. Is it a horrible idea? Yes and no. I don't think I'm gonna do that though.
Okay.
So that's your EPA
So
rundown.
interesting.
No answers.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and everything. Is there anything you'd like to talk about before we get off the camera? Anything that's interesting like that? Something you want to say? Oh, you have your own YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've been doing YouTube a little bit. I've not been as consistent as I like to be.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard. Like you've been doing pretty good lately. You've been posting these. You don't think so? I mean, you probably feel like you could post like twice a week or something, and then you don't or whatever. But I do actually really enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
I really, really do. It's just prioritizing life. When I'm in my shop, I'm doing things. To take away 2 weeks like this and do this is pretty insane. So like this is like a time where I'm free. But normally my shop, if I'm there, I'm working. If it's a Saturday or Sunday, I try to relax, do something different. So it's really hard to make the time prioritize it, but I really, really do like it.
I'm still blown away that I've convinced people to spend 4 weeks with me in 12 months, like yourself.
I thought about that. That's a month out of a year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought about it too, and I was like, this is a
You're like,
month.
I'm drifting a lot.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, I like this because you get to drive so much, like as you were talking about earlier. I get to drive. I went to 2 other events, like you said.
Explain that real quickly.
I went to 2 events, and I don't want to say they sucked. They were great to drive different tracks, do different things. But if I had an issue with my car and I went to fix it, like I go off the track, like whatever, go to fix it, I miss the next outing sometimes. And then in a day,
because you were doing run groups and you only have a few run groups.
and I have
today.
it's cage, non-cage, cage, non-cage. I'm in a non-cage car. I have 1 vehicle there. Yeah, if I rolled 1 cage car, 1 non-cage car, and people, yeah, you can drive all day long. But that's not realistic. That goes from running, taking 1 day off by myself to running.
How many laps did you get at those other events?
Oof. I got to drive with, how many laps? In Atlanta, probably like 20, 30. I probably could have done a little more,
good.
decent amount. In Hyperfest, probably similar, but that was also because I got to drive with Adam LZ and them in the little Drift HQ area because they were like, yeah, come in and have fun. If it wasn't for them, I mean, probably still 15, 20. It sounds like a lot, but it's not. If you're out there hot lapping, in one stent, you can do 5 to 8 laps, you know?
Yeah.
So if you go out 2 times, 3 times.
15-minute sessions in your
Yeah, it's not, versus here, I'm like, oh, my car feels weird. I'm gonna take the time, I'm gonna check it out. Like even today, I didn't drive a ton today. And then I went out and I was just trying to do backies for whatever for like 30 minutes. And then I came back in and I was chilling. Then I went back again. It's the environment is unmatched. This is the best way I think to have fun driving. Yeah, this is the best.
It spoils you though.
Oh yeah, my first
spoils
event
you
was
so
Drift
bad.
Week.
Yeah.
So then to leave and go to that, I was like rushing. I was like, I don't want to rush. So yeah,
Especially if you were traveling.
I traveled 8 hours, 10 hours to one.
Yeah.
I flew to the other. So having limited drive time was not the best.
You're just like reality check. I was living in fantasy land for a while. Like this is not normal.
Yeah.
This is not a normal thing that new people normally get to do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I want to also thank him again for saving some of the other drivers like Nick Novak, who had a problem on at the track, couldn't get his car started,
and didn't want to ask me. So instead he's asking everyone else. And I'm like, dude, I walk on like, oh yeah, the starter's definitely dead. He's like, shit. Tries fixing it, fix it. Yeah, then I pulled over at a gas station, connected to his car, turned off his immobilizer. That doesn't mean if you're trying to buy a tune, I do that.
He pulls over at a gas station and remotely tunes into it from a laptop from hundreds of miles away or something probably and does it.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I do that for every customer. There's like a rare situation. Usually it's like a 1 to 2 day time lead of business days because like I have a life and I have a business, but there's like times where you have to help people. Him and there was someone
Nick
else.
was probably messaging him and just ghosted, and I messaged him like, yo, and he's like,
no, he didn't.
Up.
I came and was like, why are you asking for help? I didn't want to bother you. I said, you've been sitting here for 2 days. No, with no help. And then there was someone else, I forget who it was, it had some random thing going on, but it doesn't matter. I'm here to help. It's okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for keeping guys on track. That little tiny gesture of just 5 minutes of your time saves someone, because you've accumulated all that experience and stuff. You can solve someone's problem in minutes and put someone else on track, and I really appreciate that. No, I'm sure you understand how much that means to him.
He was probably extremely happy or grateful. He said thank you after, but it's just like when you're doing something like this in the drifting community, it's definitely different than other automotive related things. If one guy breaks and someone says, I need help pushing, we're all here. This is also not a competition. Yeah. But even at competition level, a lot of them I think are friendly. You break something, you can talk to people. The environment here compared to any other automotive racing or whatever I've tried doing is unmatched. Like drag racing sucks. This is the best. That's a whole nother story.
Well, you're trying to beat the other guy almost to the point where you'd sabotage their car. Well,
no, you just want to win. I mean,
you want to win so bad.
My other one's the fastest of everything of this car, highest horsepower, whatever. And it's just like, I just go to beat myself, and not just that, it's just like, you're trying to push everything to the limit. And while I'm also like spinning out and doing that here in a different way, this is so much more rewarding. If I can go through 30 sets of tires, that's hours and hours of driving time. For drag racing, they say you race to wait in line. You're not racing to race.
The faster you get, the less you get to drive.
Yeah. not as fun.
Cool.
But yeah, it is great.
All right. Thank you so much for your
problem.
time and everything. I
Thanks
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
I love this.
Thank you.